Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something that I think a lot of us, can relate to. It can be kind of tricky even for native
Yeah.
speakers. We're going to be talking about networking.
Yeah.
Networking in English. I'm sure many of you out there have felt that kind of, like awkwardness. Maybe you're at a conference,
Right.
you're staring at a blank LinkedIn message,
Yeah.
or maybe you're just, stuck making small talk over lukewarm coffee.
Yeah.
And it can be tough, even if you're fluent in English, like turning those kind of like stiff moments into something real. It can
Yes.
feel like you're like walking through a minefield.
Absolutely.
So today, that's what we're tackling. We're giving you the map, the tools to go from awkward silence to confident conversations.
Yeah, it's a fantastic goal. And it's something that I think we all kind of struggle with because it's not just about the language, right?
And no,
It's the whole idea of networking itself, this intentional connecting with strangers. I mean, it can be uncomfortable.
it can be.
So, let's sort of unpack why it feels so awkward to begin with.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah.
So, looking at some of the research that we've gathered here, one of the biggest things that comes up is this fear of making a cold approach.
Right.
That worry that you're going to sound pushy or you're going to be seen as intrusive.
You're just imposing on somebody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a huge barrier for a lot of people.
It is. And, I think that ties into our inherent desire as humans, right? We
Mhm.
want to be liked. We want to be accepted. So putting ourselves out there like that can be really challenging. And then, of course, you mentioned the anxiety around small talk.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what do you say after you've exhausted the weather? How do you keep that ball rolling?
And the dread of those dead ends in the conversation.
Exactly.
And then, you layer on top of that the possibility of cultural misunderstanding.
Oh, absolutely.
What you think is a harmless joke could totally fall flat. Or even if it, depending on where you are in the world and who you're talking to.
Yeah, humor is so context specific. It
Right.
really is.
Really is. So yeah, those are some pretty big psychological and social hurdles to get over, right?
Absolutely. But here's the thing, and this is something that really jumped out at us from the research. A whopping 85% of jobs
Wow.
are filled through networking,
That's huge.
but only about 20% of people actively do it.
Really? So, I mean, that really changes how we look at this whole challenge, doesn't it?
It does.
Because if you can get comfortable with networking, you're essentially unlocking this hidden job market
Right.
that most people aren't even aware of.
That's a massive
A
advantage.
huge advantage.
So let's tackle that first hurdle, right? Starting the conversation. And we're going to do that with a technique that we call the 3-second rule.
Okay, the 3-second rule. I like it already. Tell me more.
All right, so the basic idea is to move quickly.
Okay.
Act fast on that impulse to connect. You see someone you want to talk to, give yourself 3 seconds. Max. 3 seconds to make contact before your inner critic chimes in and says, no, don't do it.
Oh, I see. So cut out that overthinking.
Exactly. Be decisive.
I like that.
Yeah. So how do you put this into action?
Okay, how do we do it?
All right. Step 1, scan the room.
Okay.
Or, if it's a virtual event, look at the participant list. And try to find somebody who's standing on their own.
Okay.
Because approaching one person
Yeah.
is a lot less intimidating than trying to wedge yourself into a group.
Right. Less pressure.
Exactly. And they're probably more open to that new interaction as well.
Makes sense. All right, so step 1, find your person. What's step 2?
Step 2 is all about the opening. Smile. It's welcoming. It's universal.
Right.
And then you want to open with context. Give them a reason why you're approaching them.
Okay.
So, for example, you're at a conference, right? You could say, hi, I noticed you mentioned topic in your introduction. I'd love to hear more about your perspective on that.
Oh, that's good.
Or if it's your first time at this particular event, you could
Mhm.
say, this is my first time at event name. Do you have any tips on sessions or people I shouldn't miss?
I see. So it's much more engaging than just like a generic hello.
Exactly. It shows you've been paying attention. You're looking for something specific.
Right. Okay, so that's a great opening. What's the crucial third step?
This one, a little physical connection if the situation's right.
Okay.
A handshake, maybe a high five.
Right.
A little bit of physical touch
Okay.
can create a sense of connection even if it's brief.
I see. Yeah, like breaking the ice
Exactly.
a little bit. Okay, now you mentioned a pro tip to make this whole 3-second rule even better.
I do. So if you're really nervous about networking, set yourself a tiny goal.
Okay.
Tell yourself, okay, I'm just going to talk to one new person today.
Right.
Or two.
Keep it manageable.
Totally. So it doesn't feel like this huge high pressure situation.
Yeah, right. I like that. Okay, so we've made that initial contact. We've started the conversation. What are some key phrases or approaches that really work well in different scenarios? Like, let's get specific here.
Yeah, let's get specific. Okay, so at events and conferences,
Yeah.
instead of just saying, hi, how about this? What's been the most interesting thing you've learned so far?
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Right. Or which sessions are you planning to attend later? It gets people talking.
It does. And you're more likely to find some common ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you'll even end up going to the same session.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what about online, specifically LinkedIn? How do we approach networking there?
So LinkedIn's a bit different. It's not as spontaneous as in person.
Right.
And one thing that doesn't work, sending a message that's all about you.
Okay.
You know, I'm looking for a job. It doesn't give anything to the other person.
Yeah. It's all about you.
Yeah, it puts all the pressure on them.
Exactly. So what's a better way?
A better way is to start by acknowledging their work.
Okay, you could say, I really enjoy your recent article on topic, especially your points about specific point. I'm actually working on something similar right now, and I'd love to hear more about your experience with related area.
I see. So it's personalized.
It is.
You're showing that you've actually read their stuff.
Exactly.
And
And that you genuinely want to learn from them. It's not just a random request.
right. You're being warm.
Exactly.
So, okay, we've had that first contact. Online, offline, it doesn't matter. How do we keep those connections alive?
Follow up.
Oh, follow up. So many people forget about that.
I know, right? But it's where the magic happens. So here's a simple phrase you can use. It was great talking to you earlier about topic.
Yep.
And like I promised, here's that article resource I mentioned.
I see. So you're referencing the conversation. You're
Yeah.
providing value. You're
Exactly.
showing that you listened.
You were present. Yeah, that's great. Now, we talked a little bit about cultural sensitivity earlier. Are there any specific things to keep in mind when we're, reaching out to people from different cultures?
Oh, definitely. So while being direct might be okay in, the US or the UK,
Yeah.
in places like Japan or Germany, building that rapport first,
Yeah.
super important.
Yeah.
So you might want a more formal introduction, maybe through a mutual connection,
Okay.
or, ease into the professional stuff with some general chat first.
I see. So understanding those cultural preferences, it can really make a difference.
Oh, it's huge. It shows respect. It makes it more likely they'll want to connect with you.
Absolutely. So we started the conversation. How do we keep it from, stalling out?
All right, so avoid those conversational dead ends,
Okay.
the one-word answers.
Okay.
Like, nice weather, it's pleasant,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really go anywhere.
It's a conversation killer. All right. So what should we aim for instead?
Ask open-ended questions, questions that require more than a yes or a no.
Right.
So instead of, are you enjoying the conference?
Yeah.
Try, what are some key trends you're seeing here?
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Or how did you get into this field? Invite them to share their insights.
Yeah, you're showing that you're genuinely curious,
Exactly.
not just going through the motions.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're asking engaging questions. What else can we do to keep the conversation going?
You got to practice active listening.
Active listening.
Show them you're really paying attention.
Not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. Use phrases like, that's fascinating. Tell me more about that specific thing they mentioned.
Okay.
Or, how did that experience shape your current work? It shows you're engaged.
It shows you're present.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's a two-way street.
It is.
Engaging questions, active listening. Now, what about when it's time to, politely wrap up the conversation?
Yes, especially if you want to talk to other people.
At an event? Yeah.
Right. So you need a smooth exit strategy.
Right.
You could say something like, this has been a really interesting conversation, but I want to make sure I connect with a few more people. Would you be open to connecting on LinkedIn so we can continue this later?
Okay, so you're signaling that you're ready to move on,
Yeah,
but you're still interested.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or you could say, I'm really enjoying this, but I see someone I need to catch up with. Can I grab your card so we can schedule a call later?
I see. So you're giving a reason. You're
Yeah.
not just, being rude.
Exactly.
Now, you also mentioned a really clever life hack for making follow-ups more impactful.
I did. So during that conversation, make a little mental note,
Okay.
or if it's appropriate, a quick written note
Okay.
about something personal they shared.
Okay.
Maybe a hobby, a trip, something they're passionate about. Then, when you follow up, you can mention it.
Oh, I see.
Like, it was great chatting about the conference, and I remember you mentioned you're into photography. Did you get a chance to see that exhibition?
Okay, so it's that personal touch
It is.
that shows you really listened.
Yeah. It makes you memorable.
It does. That's great. Now, I know for a lot of people, even starting these conversations can be really scary.
It can be.
So are there any, like, exercises you can do on your own to build your confidence before you even, get out there?
There are. One simple one is mirror practice.
Okay.
Stand in front of the mirror and just rehearse your intro. Hi, I'm your name. I work in your field.
Okay.
Pay attention to your body language, your smile, your tone.
Right.
Just getting comfortable saying those words out loud can make a big difference.
Like practicing your lines for a play.
Exactly. And another good one, work on your 30-second pitch.
Elevator pitch.
Yeah, but maybe a little less formal. It's a concise way to explain who you are, what you do, and what you're looking for. A good template is, I help target audience achieve outcome through skills.
Okay.
Right now, I'm interested in connecting with people who are goal.
So have that ready to go.
Have it ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing to practice. What happens if someone's not interested in talking?
Oh, right. Yeah, rejection.
It's going to happen. Not everyone's going to be your new best friend.
Right.
So practice a polite exit line, something like, no worries, enjoy the rest of the event.
Okay, so you don't get flustered.
Exactly. Just move on gracefully.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, you also had one final pro tip to help people ease into this whole networking world.
I do. If in-person feels too scary, start with virtual events.
Okay, online.
Yeah, it's usually less intimidating. It's a good way to practice, build your confidence.
From the comfort of your own home.
Exactly.
I like that. Now, to put all of this into practice, we have a challenge for our listeners.
We do. We want you to take action this week.
Yes.
First, send one thoughtful LinkedIn message like we talked about.
Yeah.
Find someone whose work you admire. Express genuine interest.
Second.
At your next meeting or event, compliment someone on something specific they said or did. It's an easy way to start a positive interaction.
It is.
And finally, share your experiences, big or small, using the hashtag confident networking.
Yes. Tell us how it goes. You could say something like, loved your insights on topic during event. Are there any resources you'd recommend? Use that hashtag so we can follow along.
And remember, networking isn't about collecting a ton of business cards.
No.
Think of it as planting seeds.
I like that.
Some connections will blossom right away.
Yeah.
Others, it might take time.
Yeah.
But every genuine connection you make, it has potential.
It really does. It's about building relationships, not just, adding names to a list. Now, for a little sneak peek at what's coming up next on the deep dive,
Oh, exciting.
we're tackling another topic that can be a bit scary: how to give presentations in English
Ooh, good one.
without panicking.
Yeah,
So stay tuned for that.
And to leave you with a final thought to ponder, your network is not just who you know. It's who knows you.
That's powerful.
It is.
Think about that. Thanks for taking this deep dive into networking with us today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.